Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gigi. Happy birthday to you.
We love you.
We love you.
Love you.
Love you.
You love you. You love you.
We love you.
I like to tell you on the father.
Good job. I love you.
Love you.
Hi Grandma, happy birthday. One of my fond memories of our time together is when I was living in New York and you came out and visited, and we went to Hamilton, and you took the train up to Grand Central Station and we met you there, and went back to my apartment in Brooklyn, and remember getting some takeout food and riding the subway with you, and that was just, New York's a pretty wild place, and I'm glad that you got to experience it. And it's funny when we talk now of you kind of say how crazy it was and how wild I lived there, but now I live here in Portland, and it's this is the park right by my house, and it's a nice place to walk in the morning, so I'm enjoying the nature out in Portland. But I love you. Can't wait to see you this summer, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Grandma. 95 years old. Wow, what an inspiration you are to all of us. And I'm here to share some memories with you. And there's so many because, as you know, we've been together for 50 years. But I think the main ones are this. As a mother-in-law, you've been so accepting and inclusive. That's number one. Number two, as a grandmother to my children, boy, I couldn't ask for a wiser or better listener to them as they grew up, and we sure appreciate that role that you played in their life. And then number three has been our travels. Boy, have we been to some neat places, starting with Alaska in the old truck, moving on to Costa Rica and the waterfall, going from there to Great Britain and the bell tower, and then most recently New Orleans and hitting Bourbon Street on Saturday afternoon right before Halloween. All wonderful memories, and there's so many more. But I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday.
Hi Grandma, happy birthday. I am so excited to be able to wish you happy 95th birthday, and I wanted to share a very memorable moment of the two of us together. And I think we've had so many good times eating strawberries and picking a few and, you know, going down to sample with the stream and getting lost. But I think my favorite memory, or, you know, one that I maybe approach with caution, is that you were the only person who could coax me out to go to my 10-minute 6th grade presentation. I was cowering behind the bathtub, and you were the only person who could get me to go and do the presentation. And I think I've always trusted you, and I've always felt like we have a special bond. You're someone I can confide in, and I look up to you. I look to model my own behavior after you too. And so I am endlessly grateful for you, and I treasure every moment that we have together. And I'm sending you lots of love and big hugs now and always. Bye.
Hi, Grandma Ruth. My favorite memory with you has probably been this last trip out and just spending more time in small groups and playing cards and watching the grandkids interact with you is just great. And I'm just so glad you're a part of our lives. We love you.
Hello, Ruth. You know, I remember coming into your living room with Judy and telling you that we were going to get married and how composed you were in that surprising moment. I think, though, that my favorite memory, one that I've told on myself a lot, is when we were climbing Handy's Peak. And we're getting near the top. You were ahead of me. And I suddenly fall down on the ground, my arms spread wide, the blood pulsing to the tips of my fingers. And you call down from the top and you say, "Jeff, are you okay?" And of course, you're a bit older than I am, so it just said how out of shape I was and how good of shape you were at that time. Happy birthday, Ruth. I love you a lot.
Happy birthday, Mom. 95 years. It's pretty amazing. You are an inspiration to me and to us all, as you know. It's hard to think of one memory or some things that I love about you because there are so many. But the one that has really stuck out in my head is all the times in the summer at Humboldt Park when you would faithfully drag the old garden hose out of the boiler room, which actually would have made a really good stable for a horse. Just saying, it would have. And you would pull that old garden hose up the steps and then string it through, carry it through the entryway, hook it up, and faithfully water the kind of non-existent grass under the church sign and that little flower bin or little flower place underneath our window of our apartment, and how you just so faithfully did that year after year. And that just really speaks to me about you and how you do what you can to make the world a better place and a more beautiful place, even against tall odds and even at cost to you. You've been doing that for me my whole life, watering to make sure that I and all of our family and your friends and everybody has a place in which they can grow and bloom wherever we are planted, wherever we are. Your farm girl in the city didn't matter. You cried when you got to Humboldt Park and you cried when you left, and what a good lesson for me in my life. Bloom where you are planted. So thanks, Mom, for always supporting me, for always being the faithful person with the money to buy the rocks that Karen and I would paint. Curiously, we didn't have many other people come to buy our rocks. What's that about? So thanks for all that you've given us, and what a joy just to watch you with my children and then to watch you with their children and to see that loving presence passed on, and how you have been a person that's passing on love your whole life, and how you've enabled us to do that too. So love you, Mom. Happy birthday.
I don't think you've ever heard this story, but after I ran Run Rabbit Run 50 Mile, I called you to let you know how I had done, and you asked if I could call you back because you were at a church concert, and you didn't quite hang up the phone, and one of your friends asked you, "What's going on?" And you said, "My grandson ran 50 miles. And it wasn't what you said, but how you said it, the pride you had in me at that moment, and just in your grandchildren in general. I'll never forget how that was the best thing about that entire weekend. It wasn't about how I did in the race or how much fun I had. It was about how proud you were of your grandchildren. And I just wanted to say happy birthday, and I love you, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.
Hello, Grandma. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great day. I'm so happy to have had you play such a central part in my life, both as a kid and as an adult. Even though I never lived close to you, it's hard to replace that excited feeling I still remember of feeling when I knew you were driving your little car to visit us in Iowa, or even better, when we were driving our car to visit you in the big city in Chicago. I love the memories of staying at your house and playing in your basement with your collection of assorted antiques and other toys, of washing my hands and brushing my teeth in your sink with low water pressure, staying in your bed and seeing that picture of Jill graduating from Grinnell, with maybe the little fuzzy goat or something. And of course the banana bread, the nut-free and the nut banana bread that was wrapped in white butcher paper. And perhaps most importantly, the lovely distinct smell of your house. Those are memories I'll never forget. And of course, I can't forget the wonderful one-on-one day I'd always get with you, which was almost always spent at the aquarium, as you know, maybe also the occasional trip to the zoo or some other assorted museum, but normally the aquarium. And so now it's so delightful to get to see you with our kids, of course, as you get dizzy on the other side of the portal, watching them frolic about, or even just sitting and watching them play on the ground. You're always such a wonderful presence wherever you are and whoever you're with. You are helpful and supporting of them. And we love you so much for it. So happy birthday. Thank you for being such a great grandma.
Hi, Gigi. Hi, Ruth. Happy birthday. I have so many great memories. And one of my favorites is when we went on a big, ambitious Colorado hike, and you were in your late 80s a few years ago. It was like 5 miles or something, high elevation, and it rained while we were halfway through, and you took it like a trooper, and everybody on the trail could not believe how ambitious you were and that you were there with the whole family. And it represents so much of who you are and the pillar that you've been for this family, and it's been such an honor to get to be part of it for a small part of your life. So it's truly wonderful, and we are so excited to celebrate you very soon in June. Happy birthday.
Hi, Grandma Ruth. My favorite memory about us is during family vacations when we were always the first ones up, and I miss and enjoy those conversations. Yeah, miss you. Can't wait to see you.
Hi, Grandma. Happy 95th birthday. There's so many things that I love about you. Like growing up, you would play all of the games of Race to the Roof and Guess Who with me. And you would always be my roommate when we would travel, and we would always have so much fun on our adventures together. But one of my most favorite things about you is you love everyone for exactly who they are and exactly where they're at. And we don't have to be different or fit to some, model that for like a perfect grandkid. You just love us as we are, and you want to know us, and you want to know what's going on in our lives. And truly, Grandma, your love is the most selfless that I've ever experienced. You just love us unconditionally, and we love you right back so much. And we're so lucky to have you. We're the luckiest for you to be our Gigi.
Yep.
Right, buddy?
Happy birthday, Grandma.
We love you. Happy 95th.
Happy birthday, Mom. I'd like to take this opportunity to share just a few memories with you. You have always been there for me my entire life. I have so many memories of you loving and supporting me. I remember when I was in kindergarten and I was the attendant for the 8th grade graduation, how you made me feel really special. I got a dress and I got a fancy thing to put in my hair, and that made me feel really special. I remember when Judy and I would pack our little red wagon with our latest selection of library books, and you would pack us a lunch, and we would go to the park, and we would eat our lunch, and read books in trees. That was a great, great thing for us to do. I remember you would rub my legs as I was going to sleep. My legs would always hurt, and you would just sit there at bedtime and rub them, and it felt so good, and I felt so loved. I can remember when I moved to Northern and you guys moved me into the dorm. You wanted to help make my bed. You wanted to help me get situated, get settled, and Dad just wanted to go in the worst way. I think it was probably pretty hard for him. I also remember watching you and Jill in the parking lot at Jeff and Judy's wedding reception. And I was moving to Colorado, and you were very supportive of me and very loving, and you sent me off, even though it probably was pretty hard to do. In all my life, in all my ways, in everything I've done, you've always been there to support me. And those are just a few of the memories that I have. So I love you, thank you, and I'm so grateful you're my mom. Happy birthday.
Hi Mom, happy 95th birthday. Quite an accomplishment. There's a lot of memories that I have of you, so it's hard to choose, but I remember in Humboldt Park on cold winter mornings, you would open up the doors underneath the kitchen sink, and there was a radiator underneath, and you would put a little chair there, and I would sit on that little chair and have a hot breakfast next to the hot radiator, and I would feel very warmed and loved and special in that tiny little kitchen, and that's about as best you can do for a child. I also remember in high school, I would ask you a question when I was doing homework, and I'd ask you a question, and then you would disappear, and then 30 minutes later you would come back. You had gone down to the basement to look up the answer in the encyclopedias, and then you would come up with the information, because this was before internet. And then I'd be like, I don't need that information anymore, but you always went the extra mile. I also remember our time in Costa Rica together, how you were quite the adventurous traveler, and that I told you to pack light, and since it was the dry season, you didn't need to bring a raincoat. But of course it did rain quite a bit, and so we ended up wearing black garbage bags on our trip. And of course you remember we had lots of adventures, and you didn't speak any Spanish, but you were just going, hola, hola, and just had a grand time. And we are very blessed that you came and lived here in Lancaster with us and were an integral part of our lives. As Hannah and Zoe grew up, that is a truly amazing thing. You helped shape them, you helped us so much, and we are glad to have all those special memories together. Thank you for that. I was having lunch with some friends who were talking about their difficult or complicated relationships with their mothers, and I just couldn't participate in the conversation because I had nothing to share in that department. So I feel pretty lucky that you are such an amazing person. Your positive energy towards life, the way you look out for people who are on the outskirts and bring them in, and the way you live the message that love is never wasted. We couldn't really ask for a better matriarch or role model for our family. So I thank you so much. Happy birthday. Keep on, keep it on. Love you much.
Happy 95th birthday, Ruth. One of my favorite memories spending time with you was down in southwestern Colorado sometime in the 1990s, long ago, when we were all much younger, and we were all camping out there. Gosh, there was pretty much everyone, and at any rate, we were having a good time camping the way the Neumans always loved to do. And the two things I remember from that time were when we did the stream float, and it was so cold. And we'd lie in the stream and float as long as we could, counting, and pretty much screaming the whole time because it was so freezing cold. But I just kind of remember you were there floating with everyone and probably did it about as long or longer than anyone. And then that same trip was when we climbed Red Cloud and whatever it is down there, a couple mountains, but what I remember there is you just intrepidly going up that mountain, 14,000 foot high mountain, and at one point passing one of your son-in-laws who will remain nameless, huffing and puffing, and you just kind of like cheered them along to keep going and make it up the mountain. Anyway, impressing me and everyone with just how vigorous and excited you are to be outside doing things, high adventures and all. And I guess, yeah, if I have to thank you for something, it would be so many things, but always kind of bringing excitement and enthusiasm into doing things, whether it was camping like that or even today when, you know, you come over and spend time with us and at the house and add excitement to play games and do things which, yeah, changes things up and makes our days, I think, you know, fun and interesting in a way they not always are. Anyway, Ruth, love you so much and happy birthday.
Hi Grandma, happy birthday. Sorry we couldn't celebrate it with you, but I want to come on here and share my favorite memory with you, and that is when you used to pick me up from school and we would have sleepovers, and then in the morning we would make blueberry muffins, and then one time we used, I think it was baking powder instead of baking soda, and it tasted awful, and we just had a good laugh over that, and then we would go watch birds in the backyard, and yeah, I miss that, and I love you, and I hope you had a good birthday. Bye-bye.
Happy birthday, Grandma. I am at an airport, but I wanted to make sure that you knew how much I loved you and how much you have shaped who I am today. And I love you, and I love all of the ways that you have instilled my love of the world. Happy birthday. Thank you for everything that you have done for me, for the whole family. And I'm always grateful to have you. Love you. Happy birthday.
Go.
Happy birthday, Gigi. I like playing in your apartment basement and looking at the bird feeder and going for walks and looking outside on your porch. And I like to talk with you on the porch. Love you. Happy birthday, Gigi.
I love you.
I love you.
Cameron, can you say Gigi? Gigi. Do we love Gigi? Yeah.